I'll go back into sculpting mode for the head, and this time use draw sharp. And with the draw sharp, I will carve in that bit of the eye socket. And I think we can get rid some of the nose bridge here. I'll use clay strips for this. And just work around here. Don't rush with your sculpt. Taking it slow is the important part. What I could do is just superly increase the strength of my brush and just start carving it like crazy. But it's all about control. I get something like this. I'll try to smooth out very, very gently. I don't want to destroy too much of the details. And I think it's fine to have it like this for a base. What I want to do is add another features of the face before trying to finishing the eyes, because for the eyes we'll definitely need way more vertices than what we have right now. Okay, I'll go with the clay strips and add a bit of bump from where the mouth should be. Just a small bump, don't have to go extreme. I'll smooth it out gently and use draw sharp again. Now, the shape of your lips is very important on how you're going to make the middle line, which only I redo it quite a few times. We can go into the front view with the numpad 1 and try drawing something like this. Oh, what I'm looking for while shaping the lips is a nice separation between the middle and the side. Then we'll just have something like this on the top and something like this at the bottom. Very, very simple. Not anywhere to hurry. Draw sharp and very, very calmly draw in the shape. If you feel like the lines are very pixelated, what we can do is use crease brush. Crease shortcut is Shift and C. And very slowly and calmly draw in some of the fixes here. Now definitely what we have here is not enough of mesh, but we're just building basic shapes which are pretty easy to control while we don't have too many vertices. But soon enough we will definitely increase the amount. I'll go into the side view, and usually the front lip is always way further than the bottom lip. Not way further, but at least a bit. We'll be looking to something like having the front lip a bit more and the bottom lip a bit further on. We can have this nice line. Okay. Oh, the easiest trick to that is using a masking tool. And I always think that masking tool is a very strong tool, and you should definitely use it when you can. I press M shortcut for the mask and try to carefully mask up the top lip. I'm masking a bit more of the face, so when I'm gonna be moving the lip, I want it not to be too pixelated on the sides. Now, if you're a bit confused, just try following it, and later on you definitely will understand what I mean by that. Okay, so we'll use a shortcut A again to invert the mask. And now the grab brush tool, going to the bottom, I can just drag out the top lip. Very, very simple. And I will just have it more in front. We don't have to worry about anything else. We can clear the mask. Make it maybe smooth a bit. And I think it's pretty cool for the base. We can work out on the nose now. What I'm gonna do is we have an extremely good base. I'm just gonna draw a nice bubble on the side. Don't draw too much. Let's see how it looks like. I think it's fine. We can smooth out. And now for the nostrils, a lot of people use a draw brush, but I start liking a draw sharp. And with the draw sharp, drawing in something like the shape. This is very good for the base. And I think we can even add some quick and simple airs. For that, we'll be using mask again. I'll select mask brush with shortcut M and draw a small bubble. A bit more like an egg shape this time. And this is actually gonna be enough. I'll just invert the mask and use the grab brush tool again. Quite big grab brush tool. And from the backside of the air, which is very important, I'm gonna drag out a very slowly an air shape. Now I'm in a front view, going to adjust how it looks like from the front. I'll drag out a bit side of the ears, somewhere around where the nose is. I quickly just cross the line with the annotation. So I'm looking at the nose, where the nose ends. And this is around where my ear should be. Where is the top one? I'm looking at the top of the eye socket. This is where our ear can be. For the cuter purpose of the character, I usually put them a bit lower. But they can definitely work if I put them a bit higher. Like this. See? It works perfectly fine. Okay. Now when we have something like this, I'm not gonna finish yet using the grab brush tool. What I'm gonna do is go into the side view and drag out a bit like this. I want to form a bit more of the shape like the air for what we're going for. So this is a good moment to try following the shape of our concept. I'll probably share the concept head model too for free. So you can always look at the model and see if you need some adjustments. I'll just drag it down a bit closer to the head. And I think we have quite nice base for our ears. I'll just clear the mask and look around. We can very smooth, very low strength smooth around the ears. And I think we have quite a nice base. Now we can start going a bit deeper into the head. I'll go with the clear strips and I want to fix a bit of our neck because as we can see in our reference and our model, and in reality, necks don't usually work like this. Necks don't usually go into this triangle version where we can make, but more of this static line. And then we definitely need to add a bit more mesh on the top. And I'm going to use clay strips and just add a bit slowly like this. Be careful not to add too much. That's why we're using quite low strength brushes. I'll add a bit here because this is where our trachea, where we swallow and breathe. And this should make the head look more natural from the side. Let's hide our annotation so we can see what's happening. And I think it's fine for now, but later on we're definitely gonna be working a bit more. Okay. So if you're a beginner, it's definitely gonna become much harder going a bit further now. But stay patient and you can definitely do it. I'll increase my voxel size, Shift R again, and drop to quite low. Be careful again. This number is very dangerous because it can definitely crash everything. Before applying it, I always recommend pressing Ctrl S just to save your file and be on the safer line. Now I'm remeshing it with Ctrl R and we got 500,000. Add smooth very, very lightly on the lips and the nose, a bit on the ears too. Okay, now I want to start shaping our nose and our lips a bit more complicated, a bit more finished look. I'm gonna start with the crease brush with this Shift plus C, or just pressing it on this brush, and try to form our nostrils. So what a lot of people miss about noses is that they do this and they think it's over. That's not completely truth. Noses go in and out. We'll go like this and come back into that nose itself. We can definitely see this in our reference image. Well, let's work on that shape. It definitely will become more clear when we're gonna be putting it in. I'll slowly try forming a shape. And don't mind that it doesn't look like the reference 100% yet. I'll use a grab brush tool to a bit make the nostrils goes in more equal. Grab brush tool is probably most used and the best for controlling everything, so you don't have to worry about making perfect shape every single time. I want to add a bit of the nice bump to the nose. And I think our nose is looking a bit too much high into the sky. What we can do is go with a quite big brush somewhere around this area of the nose and start dragging it down with the small movements. So what I see a lot of beginners do, which is a big mistake, is just take brush and try to move it already in a place. What I like to do is drag it a bit, release it, drag it a bit, release it, drag it a bit, and change the position of where I drag it to. This way it's a bit more complex movement and a bit more control and a bit more accurate. I'll smooth it so it doesn't look that harsh. And for now, I think we should move on with the lips. I'll use the clay strips again and make this shape of our lips more visible. Oh, what I actually like to do is take a bit of the spray brush, which is right here, and just scrape off the shape like this off the lips. And it will become much easier for us to form it. What I'm gonna do is take a clay strips and now add a bubble almost shaped like to the middle of the top lip. And add a bit more to the sides, very, very little. Smooth everything out and start working on the bottom lip. The bottom lip is a bit complicated, a bit more complicated with the thing that its shape is not exactly just this area. The bottom lip shape comes from almost all of the chin. Now what I'm going to do is use a crease brush again and carve in the shape like this. And you can see our bottom lip is starting to appear even if we're not even working on it. I'll smooth it out a bit. And with the same crease brush, I'll hold Ctrl and do a sharp line. We can do the same for the top lip. We should even do it with the quite small size of the radius. I'll slowly, with many times, draw in our lip shape. I'll smooth it very, very gently, not a lot of strength, and check it from the side because its lips are a lot about side. So it's not perfect yet, but it definitely looks pretty good for the beginning. I'll use a bit clay strips to make our chin have more mesh, because now it seems like we have a very flat chin, which is not usually the case. We still will have a bit of the bump. And in this case, we need quite a bit of the bump. Now we can add chin even below and smooth it. I'm smoothing it quite a lot. And I want the bottom to be a bit more flat. So I'll take a grab brush tool and move it like that. And just try to follow my reference shapes. So we have quite a nice base. Now we can work a bit with the eyes. I'll take clay strips again and start drawing in like this, like a bow or arc shape around that bottom eye. And don't just keep drawing like this very slowly. And I sometimes fill in this below the eye just to keep the shape even. Okay. I'll smooth it out just to see how it looks like. I think it's looking pretty good for the base. Now I will do the same for the top. I just not drawing from the front, but from the bottom of the head, which is very important. The way you move your head and from the position you draw will determine on how the brush will be putting the mesh. Okay, when we have something like this, very smooth, very low strength again of the smoothing brush is moving in, and we see that our eyes start appearing. Now what I like to do is take a bit of clay strips and just go around here, very light with the clay strips, not even 0.3 of the strength, but like 0.1. Very, very lightly with the brush. Like this. While I'm using the tablet, I don't really have to worry too much about it. So I'm just very slightly touching the tablet. And this way I can smooth in the shape. Looks pretty good. Let's save the file to not lose it. Ctrl S. At this point, the sculpt looks pretty amazing. And I would say this is mostly where the beginners would finish their sculpt. And if you did and you like your sculpt, congratulations. But we're definitely gonna go a bit more in depth with the head sculpt. We'll try to get a bit more closer to our likeness we're going for. And I'll try explaining more complex things going a bit further on. So from this point, sculpting things correctly, the shapes that we would like to have will be a bit more difficult. So if you're having a hard time reaching the result that I will be having, don't worry too much. It just means that you need a bit more practice with it. Okay, The third thing, what I want to do is highlight our eyes. I'm gonna do that by using crease brush, which is again Shift C shortcut, and I will hold Ctrl this time because I want to have this sharp line at the bottom of the eye. I want to have the same at the top lip. I'm not trying to add too much of it yet. It's just for forming our eye shape. Just seeing what type of eye we want to have on our scope. And at this point, I can start adjusting it with the grab brush tool. So I'll grab it a bit. And the side view is very important for the eyes as well. First thing that I notice is that the eyelid is a bit too in front. So what I'm gonna do is drag it a bit back. It can be even quite a lot. I'll fix the eyelids of the bottom and the top. And same goes for the eye corner closer to the nose, because it seems like it's way too pushed out. What we want to basically and generally have with the eyelid is the same. We want to have the same thickness in here, 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 and definitely here. And you can see that the thickness between this one and this is a huge difference. Now, it definitely doesn't have to be same in the corner, just because there's more elements to the corner than that. But generally, that's what rule says. So we'll just have to move it there. I will very slowly and lightly smoothen the shape. And we have a bit more pronounced eyes. What I'm going to do now, I think we're having a bit lacking of the eyebrow. What I will do is choose Clay Strip Brush and try to lightly add a bit more mesh on here. Now, shaping these eyebrows and this part of the face will be very, very complex, but slowly and surely we will beat all the difficulties together. Okay. Oh, something like this. Doesn't matter too much. I just want to add a bit more mesh up here. So from this side profile, you can see that our eyelid is a bit pushed. Let's maybe use this one. You don't have to keep drawing. If you're trying to follow this, you don't need to draw. Just follow my examples. So as you can see, the line going like this, and we had a small bump in here. This is very important, and most heads have it. It's just a eye socket bone. An eye socket bone goes around your eye. So sometimes people like to do it, but I don't generally advise you to do it completely. But just having a light brush won't damage the sculpt. What I want to do is now, looking at my reference, I see that our eyelid is not facing the right direction. I will use this scrape brush and scrape the sides of our nose bridge and of our eyelid. Just a very light smooth. And it's already looking a bit more complicated. I definitely want to fix the nose because the thickness of the reference and in my sculpt is much different. I'll do it for the whole nose. And now this is where sculpting comes in, the power of sculpting. I think my nose is too high. Same goes for my lips, and I think that my face itself is a bit short. So I'm gonna do is the big brush and drag it down a bit. If you feel it's too long, you can make it shorter. In this case, we're trying to follow a reference. So maybe even at the end, we'll still change proportions. I'm not really happy with my Java. What I'm going to do is use, again, clay strip brush and add a bit of mesh onto it. So we can have it a bit more defined and decide what kind of shape we want it to be. I'll go into the side view and try to follow my reference. What you can do is put on the reference in your background, draw it. You can actually hide your face, draw the lines, and then come back and follow the lines correctly. But that's a bit of the tracing. I always recommend to teach your eye. So first try to make the changes on your own, and then after that go check the sculpt, which I'm gonna share at, and then compare what is the difference, what are the changes, which one looks how in that place. And that's how I recommend learning. Don't be afraid to change proportions. What I'm adjusting right now is very complicated for me to explain, but I'm just trying my head shape to follow my reference as much as possible, because it's very important to have a good base for everything to set in the places. I feel at this point that our ears is a bit lacking. What I'm gonna do is use Draw Sharp, one of my favorite tools, and draw in the ear shape. By any chance you're accidentally, while working on this side, are damaging the back side of the ear, what you can do is go into brush and choose front face only. You can do the same for another brush, clay strips, front face only. Just keep in mind that every brush will need this option, which you want to use and which one is damaging. Not every tool is damaging the ear, so don't get too fixated on putting it on every single tool. I'll make a bubble here and almost like a bubble shape, infinity number 8, shape in here. Smooth. And it's gonna be fine for the base for now. I'm gonna take clay sharp, draw sharp, and highlight the shape of our ear a bit more. I wanna do same closer to the skull. And I think this is a bit too big. Very gently with the grab brush tool, I will try to push it back. Seems like the grab is not gonna work. I'm gonna take clay strips and try to carve in this way. A little trick is what you can do is mask. This is lasso mask. The shortcut is Ctrl plus Shift, and just clicking on a canvas and drawing the mask. You maybe will need a bit of practice in learning the lasso tool. Now, if the shortcut doesn't itself work, you can scroll down. There is box mask. You just hold it on it, and now you get the option for lasso mask or line mask. Even a line mask would work in this case. Masking like this, and I'll smooth. Oh, what I usually like to do is press A and quickly release it and just drag down. So A, drag down, and boom. And if you hold your A and quickly drag down and release the A, it will apply instantly. So what I do is just drag down and keep spamming A. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it's not. Okay, with the grab brush tool, what I am doing is pushing in the ear and shaping it a bit more in the way which I would like. I'll smooth out. I feel like we lost a bit of our skull. I'm gonna use simple clay strips to add our skull back. Now, if you've been using pretty heavy vertice count, like 500,000, it's gonna be definitely a bit harder to smooth out the shape. Just keep that in mind that you probably have to do it quite a lot, or don't worry too much now and do it later in the retopology stage. But I definitely think it's important to have it smooth even right now.